You want to talk about the schedule a little bit? Some important games.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
So I got five circled, but I'm only going to talk about two in particular,
Okay.
right? Because I think we already know Bama's important, Clemson's important, Miami's important, Florida's important, right?
Yep.
So that's four games that you feel like pretty important. Need to win those
Hmm.
games, battlefield games, whatever, whatever. So I don't think I got to tell you that those are important. But I was looking at the schedule, right? And I was like,
Hmm.
man, you know, it's like two games that
Hmm.
I think could probably break your season, right? It's two games in the schedule that could break your season.
I think I know one of them. I think I know one of them you're talking
I'm gonna go ahead and let you guess. You take the first one.
about. I think one of them is at NC State.
Yeah, I got NC State as
I
one of
knew it. Yeah, yeah. So it's well for me. It's just that I think they're gonna be better than people think,
them. Right.
and also it's something about going on the road to play them the week before you go on the road to play Florida. Like that, like that could end up being like a tricky end to your season, especially if you slip up NC State, they have to go play Florida.
It's weird
And
because you're sandwiched right now. You got the It goes Clemson, Virginia Tech, NC State. I think Virginia Tech's
yeah,
gonna be sorry as hell, right? So you should be feeling pretty good about playing Virginia Tech, beat Virginia Tech. But then you got NC State, then Florida, and that's kind of like,
yeah,
eh.
yeah, and then you got Clemson the week before of Virginia Tech. So that's actually an interesting little gauntlet that final month that Florida State has. So
And NC State, the one thing I do appreciate about NC State, they do a really good job of developing. They O lines and D lines, they always have a guy. They
hmm
always have a guy. Every 2 or 3 years, they go in
yep,
the first round. Every 2 or 3 years, they go put a defensive lineman, offensive lineman. One of them is going in the first round. They're gonna have a couple guys scattered through that's gonna be NFL players, right?
hmm
They did lose Concepcion, right? They lost him, but
yep.
CJ Bailey's pretty good at quarterback. So if he's healthy in that game, and the other scary thing about that game, the NC State game, I don't think our quarterback is going to make it through the whole season. Okay, yes. He's a smaller
Mm,
guy. He
okay.
doesn't. He gets banged up a lot. It's
Yeah,
kind of
he has
dicey.
had some injuries.
It's kind of dicey coming out of stretch. Is he going to be healthy? Good to go for the NC State game. So the NC State game, I think that's a team that's going to have similar talent to what you got. That's a game. That's going to be a
Yeah.
game. Then you play
Oh
them, and
yeah.
then you play Florida.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one game I got. Um, you want to take a guess at the other one?
I want to say Virginia.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
Virginia.
that one. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. As soon as you brought up the schedule, those two games stuck out. Cause for one, like I said, I think they're both gonna be better than people think, and they're both on the road. And
Yeah,
and when you look at when the games take place, that game's on the road the week before we host Miami.
right.
So let's say let's say for argument's sake, let's say they go out there and they barely lose to Bama. Let's say it's just they surprise everybody, they lose, 30-27, but it's like, okay, we lost, but no, this team's gonna be
Yeah, it's game in the
better
fourth
than people
quarter.
think.
Yeah,
Right. You East Texas, Kent State, I mean, I hate counting this, but I mean, if they lose games like that, then what in the world are we doing?
right. They'll win those two games
Yeah.
easily.
So you get to 2-1. Let's say you're 2-1. If you go in there and lay an egg against Virginia, now you're in the danger of being 2-3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Miami's not going to be a slouch. I don't think they're not going to be as good as they were last year. I don't believe, but I think that's always going to be a battle regardless.
And you know
And then you got,
what's
go
interesting
ahead.
about the Virginia schedule is Virginia play Coastal Carolina first, NC State. Then after that, right after that, they got Western William Mary, and then they got hold on, I just had it up here, just lost it. Hold on, I got you. They got William Mary, and then they got Stanford. Stanford gonna be sorry as hell this year. So they're gonna have William Mary, Stanford, then Florida State. So they could come in that game theoretically 3-1. Maybe they lose to NC State, but let's say they beat NC State, they could be coming to that game 4-0, 4-0. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little tricky little game
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Especially a
So
team like that, if they go the first month and they don't lose and they got all this confidence and they're at home, like that can be that can be
yeah.
1-on-1. Then it's a night game too. I think it's like 6.
Oh,
So
is it? I didn't even check the time.
yeah, yeah, Virginia game. Yeah, I think it's like 6 Eastern, 6 7 Eastern. So
Yeah, you know
that,
what? You're
that can
right.
be a
It's
night
7
game
o'clock.
too.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
game. 7 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
kick. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. And you know how them night games be on the road. So
Tim night
yeah.
games on
So
the road. Yeah.
man, boy. So yeah, it's crazy because we didn't have any. We didn't tell each other which game we were looking at, but something told me. I said, I don't know why the NC State one was like a lot. I'm pretty sure you're gonna talk
But,
about the NC State
but
game
at NC
because that
State,
one been yeah, because that one
at,
been sticking out to me even when I first saw the schedule. I'm like, man, something about that game scared me,
yeah,
or
at
or,
NC
or it
State,
has a blinking light on it. Yeah,
at NC State at night, 8 o'clock.
yeah, and
CJ
then
Bailey,
and then it's a night game. Oh man, I didn't even recognize that. Okay,
CJ Bailey from Florida. From Florida, wanted to come to Florida State.
yep,
Just one of those games you're gonna hit at a
yeah,
lot. You know what I'm saying?
yep. And that stuff motivates players, regardless of how people try to poo-poo it. That
Hmm.
stuff matters in sports. Trust me.
Yeah. So those two games is the main two I got circled. Um, I don't know about Pitt. I don't know. I just
And see, that was the one I was looking at. If it wasn't Virginia, was the Pittsburgh game.
hmm
That was the one too because I'm like, let's say let's say they battle Bama, lose, they win all the games, they beat Miami, and then they're on a high, and then they have a letdown against Pittsburgh.
I was listening to the Joe Clapp podcast,
Hmm.
and he said the most important game for Mike Norvell is going to be the Miami game.
Really?
Yeah, he said the most important game for Mike Norvell is going to be the Miami game. And when you think about it, which it's not that crazy when you think about it, because the game's going to be in Tallahassee. So all your alumni base is going to be there. Your big booster base is going to be there watching the game. You can't go out there. I, I, I don't want to say it's a must win, but I do think you probably do need to win the game because
Yeah.
if you lose to Miami twice, I don't know. I don't know. But see, I'm one of the people that I don't think he's in no danger of getting fired. But I think if you lose to Miami, it's going to get toxic.
It's gonna get toxic, and of course, that hurts you recruiting wise too.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, Miami is definitely one of the most important games for sure. But the way
Yeah.
you broke it down with that, talking about your big booster guys are gonna be there, alumni is gonna be there,
Yeah, I'm
and then
pretty sure
they're gonna have a ton of
recruits.
recruits there for visits during that
Yeah.
game. So yeah, that one's definitely big for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a pretty big game. I think that's a pretty big one. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I didn't
Yeah.
want to get into the Clemson's. I didn't want to get into Miami Clemson yet. We're gonna talk about those next week.
Hmm. Yeah. And I didn't realize that at second glance that 4 of the last 6 games are on the road.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna be
Yeah,
road
I
warriors
didn't realize.
at the
Yeah,
end.
even the road boys. Yeah, they.
That's why
I'm
it's
not
important.
worried about Stanford, but they got at Clemson, at NC State, and at Florida. Those are yeah,
That's why they really need that first quarter of the season. They need to start off 3-1. They can't be
at
worse than three and
worst. Yeah,
one.
nah, no,
They can't be worse than 3-1. They need to be
no,
3-1 coming out of that
3-1.
stretch.
Yeah, going
That's
into
why I
that
said if you
Miami
come
game.
out of that stretch 2-2,
Whew.
then you got Miami, maybe Pitt. I think you'll beat Pitt. I don't think anybody's going to beat Clemson this year. I think Clemson's going to be really good. Clemson played Oklahoma the first game, I think.
Something like that. Yeah,
Is Oklahoma?
one of them big teams they play, or like
Oh no, they
Tennessee or
played
something like that.
LSU. They played LSU the
LSU,
first game.
yeah, that's
And
it, that's it.
since
LSU.
LSU lose the first game of every season, they probably
Man,
might end up.
don't it seem like that? It don't matter. Even they end up competing for the title. Opening game of the season, LSU can't stand the first game. They stay
Brian,
losing the first game.
Brian Kelly, that first game of the season, Brian Kelly have a hard time getting his team up for the first game. It's kind of weird to me. I was telling
It is.
somebody that when we talking about Jaden Daniels for the draft,
Mm-hmm.
I watched him against Florida State 2 years in a row. And I used to watch him a lot when he was at Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never saw it. I was just like, man, I just don't think he's gonna be a good quarterback in the NFL. You know,
Same thing.
but I mean, he did play good after the Florida State game. After the season would go on in the SEC, he would play better and play
Yeah, he
good.
would. Yep.
He would. So I had to give him credit for that. But not here in the NFL, he just looked amazing in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
uh, but they have a hard time getting their guys up for that for that first game, and they play Clemson and Dabo. His teams play good in the first games. They don't have
Yeah.
a problem. They don't have a
Yeah.
problem with that at all.
Yeah.
So they don't
And
have a problem with that at all.
Lord knows I hate it because I can't. Because I'm from South Carolina. I grew up, about 20 minutes from Columbia where the Gamecocks at. So I despised Clemson since I was a little boy. You know what I'm saying? So
Um,
oh yeah, it go way back. I'm in the heart of Gamecock versus Clemson Tiger Country.
right.
So yeah, but yeah, Clemson. I hate it too because they've been good for so long. But I don't I don't see that taking no back tick. I mean, for one,
This would be one of
they're
his better teams he's had probably since the Trevor Lawrence teams.
yes, it's Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I was just about to say that because not
Yeah,
only are they killing, recruiting wise, but Clemson they develop guys.
yeah.
They get guys in there and those guys develop. Whatever.
He, he just Dabo and Nate Pierre are two
Mm,
coaches that when they recruit a kid, they have a plan for that kid to come in there and play, and they stick to the plan. Sometimes a kid might leave a little early and say he decide he don't want to be there for whatever reason, but for the most part, like Dabo, when he zero is on a quarterback, that quarterback that's his guy, and he puts a lot into that guy, like, and to the point that if it don't work out, it's very obvious it's not going to work out because he don't give up easy on a
right.
recruit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
even when he had Trevor Lawrence, I forgot who the dude he had before Trevor. It was somebody else that was playing right in front of Trevor that first year before they gave the team to Trevor. But he was
Okay.
trying to play that dude. He the defensive lineman, offensive lineman. Because I remember he said when he recruited T.J. Parker, he felt like T.J. Parker was the best player in the country. So he felt
Mm,
about him. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? He's like, I feel like he the best. I feel like we had got the best defensive lineman in the country. I mean, and that dude's pretty good. He's gonna be an NFL. He's
Right.
gonna make a lot of money.
Definitely. NFL player for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be a first rounder. So,
Hmm.
I mean, Dabo's had like one or two bad recruiting classes recently, but that was like even that bad class he had was just like that was the one with DJ Ugale, and
Hmm.
they still won 9, 10 games. They still won nine or
Right.
10 games this season. So it ain't
Right.
not drastically bad. So
Yeah.
Kelly Bryant, yeah, somebody just put it in the chat. Kelly Bryant, yeah, he played
Okay,
the shit
Brian.
out of
Okay.
Kelly.
Yep.
He played the shit out of Kelly Bryant. Everybody looking at
Yes.
Dabo like
You did. Yep.
Dabo. You see that 6'6"
Right.
golden lock, strong arm quarterback over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He played Kelly Bryant till it was unsustainable, man. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
But
He
yeah, man.
rode that. He rode that one till the wheels fell off. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, even when he had Taj Boyd, the Deshaun Watson was there when Taj Boyd there. He never played Deshaun Watson. He let Taj Boyd finish it out.
That
Like he
ties
just
board. Yep.
yeah. So he sticks to his plan when it comes to his players, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
I always tell people a lot of stuff with Dabo kind of is irritating to me. But he really is like the last of like the Bobby Bowden type guys. Like he
Yep.
is,
That's
he's the
exactly what I was
last
thinking
of
about.
it. You know, he's the
Like,
last of it, dude.
yeah, all the little details. He's like really into all that stuff. So,
Yeah, he is.
and you're definitely right about the plan because once one guy leaves, the other guy comes right in, and it's smooth as butter.
Yeah,
Like they don't have no hiccups. It's not really no drop off. He has
yeah,
different type, of course, different type of quarterbacks, different type of whatever skill sets, but they always when they come out the next year, you see, it's week 6 and they 5-0,
yeah,
6-0, 5-1, ranked top 10 in the country, rolling.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like um, yeah, he's definitely a throwback. Bobby Bowden, Tom Osborne,
He's the
kind of
last of it. He's the last
yeah,
of it.
last of that, yeah, for
He's
sure.
the, I mean, don't get me wrong. James Franklin kind of do the same thing. Like I said, Napier does the same thing. But they take more transfers than he do. He don't really take it. I think he took 2 this year. I think Dabo finally took 2 this year. But I would listen to him talk about this, and it made a lot of sense. He was like, if I recruit these kids and I'm gonna play them, and I say I'm gonna develop you and play you, then I go recruit. I go get some kids out the portal to play in front of you. I mean, that means I'm not really all in,
Right.
But I'm telling you to be all in on the plan.
Hmm.
So I kind of got to hold up my end of the bargain on the plan. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
he leave that space in that room for them kids to play and develop, man. And he lived with the results. And sometimes the results
Right.
is them only winning 9 games or 10 games. But as you saw last year, they came back and finally and they won the ACC after what a 2-year break. Was it a 2-year or 1 year? I think it was a 1 year break
Yeah, 1 year because
because
we won
we won it.
23, and they won last year, and the year before that they won, I think. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it
something
ain't
something
like
like that. Yeah,
I keep
yeah.
telling me when people's telling me Dabo was falling off. I'm like, well, I don't know what a.
No.
I mean, he's still gonna compete for the conference, and
Yeah, and think about it. Even when he misses, they still right around double digit
yeah,
wins.
yeah,
like,
he's right around the corner, double digit wins. Yeah,
yeah, like even when it don't work out, they're right there, and they might not go to the major bowl, but they're like right there at like those bowls right underneath the major, so
yeah,
they're not far off. You know.
yeah,
So yeah, that's he's definitely a throwback.
yeah. He definitely throwback. But yeah, man, that's the pod. Got into a couple games. Virginia. We got Virginia and NC State. 2 games
Hmm.
that I think Mike Norvell needs to win those 2 games, which is kind of interesting because if you lose against Virginia, NC State, Florida, 3, Bama, 4.
Mm. Then you
Then
got Clemson.
you got Clemson, 5.
That's oof, Lord.
Now you got to win the Miami. You see what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you didn't bump all the way back to fighting to be bowl eligible. Now.
skip. So you kind of do need to try to find a way to win the Virginia
Yeah,
game and win the
yeah.
NC State game and try to beat Miami. I mean, beating Miami ain't gonna be the toughest thing in the world. You can beat Miami.
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
I got to see what they look like on defense this year. I do think they're gonna be good on offense. I think Miami offensive coordinator is actually good. I do. I think he's
yeah,
good, and I don't know why, but everybody seems to think Carson Beck sucks all of a sudden. I thought Carson Beck was good at Georgia. I didn't really see a problem with Carson Beck at Georgia. I mean, the first year he played, he was throwing the shot the football, with Brock and them. Remember, they got hurt. His tight end got hurt. Uh,
yeah. Hmm.
tight end got hurt. Lad McClunkey got hurt that year. And they still, they beat Florida State in the bowl game, which, we didn't have all our players. And he came back the next year. He had
Yep.
all new receivers, all new tight ends. Constantly trying to get on the same page with them. I thought Georgia had took a step back on the offensive line. I thought Carson was pretty good. Now, I did hear some things like, Carson was like, he's not like, it's hard to explain. He's more like, he's not one of the guys in the locker room.
Okay, he just comes in, does his job, and
He
go
kind of
home,
does his
pretty much.
thing and, kind of separate from the locker room a little bit.
Yeah,
That can be a problem in at a place like Georgia because it's kind of like at Georgia, everybody got to be all in at the same time doing the same thing. So he
hmm,
really, that's Carson though. Whatever, they say the same
yeah,
thing about Shador. And they say the same thing about it's certain quarterbacks ain't gonna be, buddy and everybody.
yeah, yeah. I just, I mean, to me, I actually think Florida's going to be harder to beat this year than Miami. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
then the fact that you're at Florida this year, we're going to be in Gainesville this year. So,
Florida gonna be really explosive on offense this year. They're gonna be really explosive on offense. So
yeah.
we'll
And
see.
speaking of recruiting, I mean, I think Florida got 3 commits just today in the
You know what's crazy
2026 class.
when Florida hired Napier, I was in a space and I was telling people I was like, well, Mike Norvell's never gonna out recruit Cristobal or Napier, and everybody like thought I was just crazy for saying that. I was like, Napier's a really good recruiter, and it was like, nah, he coming from such and such and such and such and such, and I'm like, okay, well, this is somebody that like is going to be in every high school in the state of Florida, every high school in Georgia. He's going to be hanging out there. He's going to make it a point of emphasis
Yeah.
to recruit the shit out of high school. It's just what he
Hmm.
does, because he came from, he was on the staff with Tommy Bowden with Dabo
At Clemson. Yeah.
at Clemson. Then he went to Alabama, of course, for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he has recruiting pedigree. That's just who he is. So,
Yeah.
you know, but he got a big year though, because he got to win more than 8 games this year.
Hmm.
So he got a big year.
Definitely.
He got a big year.